A Bit Much with TW Clausen. I'm TW Clausen, and today we're going to restart. Welcome to A Bit Much with TW Clausen. I'm TW Clausen, and today is a day of celebration and welcoming to our great group of people, the new people that showed up. Welcome, new people. You showed up. Man, this weekend was great. This was a great weekend. We did the Festival for Arts and Literature at Canby Waite Park, put on by the Art and Literature Foundation. I'm gonna go with Federation. It's definitely the Federation of Arts and Reading Things, also known as FART. If you're new here, welcome. I'm TW Clausen. You probably met me in person, signed up for my newsletter after I begged you multiple times and shoved a tablet in your face and told you that you have to, under penalty of death or something. Maybe you've checked out some of my other videos. Maybe this is the first one. This is it. This is the newsletter. The chill, the hangout time. I'm not trying hard to be a YouTuber, with the "What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode where I'm gonna set my grandma's house on fire and then use the insurance money to buy more followers." I'm not gonna do that. Not again. But it's more, it's almost like a diary, not a journal. I don't want to do a journal. I want to do a diary. It's not a video blog. It's not a daily vlog of any kind. I sit in a realm of, I don't have time to do a lot. I have a lot of passion to do something. And this is what you get. And I'm good at podcasting, and I have a nice camera. So I just wanted to do a podcast, and so I decided to start filming myself doing that podcast. And we're here to talk about what I'm doing, and maybe you'll be able to pitch in a little bit and tell me what you think. I've gotten some letters before from people. I've read them on the show. If you feel the urge to write to me, you can do so by going to my website, twclausen.com, and you can fill out the little contact form there. I'll get that immediately into my inbox, and then I'll probably read it if it's good. I will read it if it's bad, but probably not on the show, unless I wear a lot of mascara, so that everyone can see my tears of sadness. But let me know what you guys think of The Penny Lich if you're reading that. Let me know what you guys think of me in general. Anything that I can do to be more entertaining. I'd love to just hear from you. Tell me your stories. Let's share some of those stories on here. And it's really hard. I've noticed I've done a lot of podcasts, a lot of online forums that I ask for audience participation, and it's really, really hard to get audience participation involved. It's really hard. The most success I've seen is when I did the Halloween episodes for Between Lewis and Lovecraft, which unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be doing again. It's just so much work. It's so much time and effort and work, and I absolutely love doing it. But at the same time, I don't really get to enjoy my October. I don't get to enjoy Halloween. And so it's really tough to be able to wrangle up enough people that want to write stories, and then constantly asking voice actors and people to read my stories for free, where I don't pay anything. People can submit their stories. I don't pay them for their stories. People can audition and read the stories, and I don't pay for those because I can't. I don't make any money off of Between Lewis and Lovecraft. And that was kind of the big thing, is if I'm going to start putting that much energy into something, it needed to have some payout. Not because I'm trying to make, a ton of money doing it. It just needs to be worth my time, because now that I have a kid, my time is so precious with him, and I have to cut so many things out, and unfortunately I can't cut out my work week. I have to work 40 to 50 hours a week in order to provide for my family. And a lot of that is some of that is here at the studio. So I do have a lot of stuff that I'm doing at the studio, and if I don't choose my projects carefully, then I could end up doing a lot of work for a lot of nothing, a lot of exposure, which I still don't even have. I'm not even seeing the exposure. If I was seeing numbers coming from it, then I would be excited to do it as well. But those Halloween episodes, while they are by and far our highest downloaded episodes, it is nothing close to what we want from the show, or at least I should say what I want. Maybe Hannah doesn't want anything. I don't know what she wants. She's a crazy journalist lady who drinks coffee and hangs out with her boyfriend. Weird, right? She reads like a book a week. So I had to say, at the very least for this year, I'm not gonna do it. Maybe if we can grow this YouTube channel, maybe it's something I can do on this channel. Maybe it's something that I can bring back, or if through this channel we can see some numbers in Between Lewis and Lovecraft, then I would love to do it again through Lewis and Lovecraft. But it is something that I really enjoyed doing. I just needed to start cutting things out so that I can enjoy life, enjoy being with my son, and enjoy doing the things that I am working on, which the big one is the Penny Lich. If you're new here, that's probably why you showed up, is because the Penny Lich got the artwork caught your attention, or because I was shouting at you, hey, you like fantasy stories? I got fantasy. And that's almost an exact recreation of how I got every single one of you to notice me, even my own family. So you're probably here because of the Penny Lich. Hopefully you've read some of it by now. A lot of people bought all 3 books, which I was just I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that I'd sold almost my entire stock of all 3 volumes. I had more copies of 1 than I did of 2 and 3, and I had a few extra of 2. But of volume 3, I basically sold almost every single copy of 3, which means with that I sold 2 and 1, which is just so fantastic. And here's the rub. I've been writing the Penny Lich for 2 years now, and I've had a lot of ideas about how I want to do it and what I want to do. I'm still working through a lot of stuff. And I'm still utilizing it to become a better author. That is what I want to do with the Penny Lich, is to be better. But part of it is that I want to feel confident in my writing. So I would ask, genuinely, if you've read the Penny Lich, if you've read the first story, if you've read the first volume, the first 3 volumes, please let me know that you've read them. Tell me what you think, even if it's bad, even if there's things where you're like, man, you could really shape up here. And I've had a few people who are like, hey, you should really focus on not making it such a quick story. And I've focused on that. I've really tried to make sure that there's more breathing room for each story to be told. So I take criticism and I try to, or critiques. I take both. And I try to work them into how I'm continuing. So please let me know. And in doing so, I'm if you send me feedback, if you email me with what you think of the Penny Lich, I would ask that you take some of that and you just post an Amazon review. It takes, if you're already gonna write me, just copy and paste it, and it's done and it's quick. You have no idea how important that is to an author. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you understand because you're an author yourself. But ultimately, it's so hard to get our names out there as authors. We are a drop in the bucket. We're competing with the big five publishing company. We're competing with other indie authors that have been doing this longer than us. We're competing with indie authors that are somehow both very bad at writing, but also very good at writing a lot of bad writing. I see people who write and they put out like 3 books a year, and they're books, not like short story collections like I do. Like they're like writing books, and that's how they make their money. And I've read some of them, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. But they're making money, so they don't need my opinion. And I'm competing with that, and I'm competing with people like Brandon Sanderson, who he's written for publishers. He's New York Best Time Seller, and then he goes and does a Kickstarter, and he starts doing his own independently and crushes it. And so we're left in the indie author realm of like, well, what the hell do I do then? How do I get my name out there? And when it comes down to it, it's people like you. Okay, tapping my mic too much. It's people like you who you went out of your way to sign up for my newsletter. You maybe you bought my story, and it just takes a little bit more effort for me to get my name out there. And I'll say this, I was really, really pumped after the arts festival because I saw the connections that I was making to people in real time. And oh my God, that is what I want to do as a writer. That's what I've always wanted to do. And I start to get cooped up in my own little world, in my studio, at my desk, and I sit there and I'm typing, I'm writing, I'll work with my editor, I'll get edits back, and I get so like tunnel visioned. I forget that what I like doing, what I enjoy the most about the writing process is having something that people can connect to and having those conversations. Being able to say, that these characters exist, and then people can identify with those characters, or this situation exists. This is what's funny about this story, and then people they get into it. And just being able to talk to people who are as nerdy as I am about stuff. I had a guy who, he wants to create his own campaign setting. He's like rewriting the rules of Dungeons and Dragons so that he can publish his own book. And I think that's fantastic. I think it's crazy, but I think it's fantastic. I don't like mechanic writing and stuff like that. I don't enjoy the mechanics of things or diving into the mechanics of things. So that's why I think it's crazy. Not because I think that generally it's an insane goal, just because to me personally, the idea of going, let me just read this entire book of mechanics, and then I'm going to just make little tweaks and changes so that we can have different mechanics that we have to then memorize. It's like, nah, I just want to tell a fun story, man. So that was, man, it was such a good experience. It was fun, to just kind of hang out. I had a couple of visitors. My sister-in-law and my nephew came and hung out for a few minutes. A past player of Players Guild, a good friend of mine, came down and hung out for a little bit. And just being able to relax on a Saturday morning and afternoon and talk about books and things, it was just the best. I'm going to chase that feeling. I'm going to go after that. The idea of like of going to conferences and Comic-Cons and festivals and things where I can make more connections. And I think I have a real knack for being able to just make a connection with someone. I genuinely do. I'm not afraid of reaching out to people to just start a conversation. And it's just about finding the right tone, right? Most of you, if you came here from this last Saturday and you're watching this, I probably shouted at you genuinely, like, do you like fantasy sitcom, or do you like fantasy stories? Do you like sitcoms? Because I'm trying to sell that book. And it, immediately, just in the way people reacted to those questions, it gives me a sense of how I can build a relationship off of that, right? And unfortunately, because I was in a little bit of salesman mood, if I asked, do you like fantasy stories? And people walking by are like, no, not really. Be like, oh, okay, go away then. I don't want to talk to you. Sometimes I might follow it up with, well, do you like sitcoms though? And usually they were like, no, I hate sitcoms. And I'm like, all right, well, you're a terrible person. I hate you, and everything you believe in is terrible. So that was me being good with people. But no, I would ask those questions. It's an icebreaker. It's a way of just kind of opening up, and then people would turn and come and chat with me for a few minutes. I did my sales pitch, my elevator pitch, and man, it was, as soon as I kind of left it, people would give people a chance to respond. And sometimes it was business, oh, well, okay, this, let's buy the book. But some people just wanted to talk about stuff. And that was the best. That was my favorite part, is like being like, okay, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? What do you like? What are your favorite fantasies? What are your favorite sitcoms? I wish I had more time with everybody to be able to talk about that stuff, but that's what this is for. Let's talk about that. Make sure you email me. Make sure you write in the comments down below. What's your favorite sitcom? Why? What's your favorite moment in a sitcom? Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite moment in a sitcom. Okay, I actually know this answer. I've said this before on a Facebook post. I don't know if I've ever said it here, but there is a moment in the show 30 Rock. And 30 Rock isn't necessarily my favorite show. It was okay. I love Tina Fey and her comedy style. The rest of the cast I'm meh about. But there was a moment where you had several characters who were doing improv, and in the process of doing the improv, they set up the scene of, there's we're gonna do Oprah Winfrey talking to Sling Blade, and Tina Fey's character clearly chose to do the Sling Blade and says, I love them mashed potatoes, and the other character responded with, no you don't, Oprah. And I still giggle at that every time I watch it. Just thinking about it, I want to laugh, because it is such a good moment. It's such a good moment for so many reasons. But the improv nerd in me, it's too good. The idea, first of all, it's showing the other character's stupidity. Like, clearly Tina Fey is doing Sling Blade, not Oprah Winfrey. But the other character's too stupid to know, and says, Oprah. But the number one rule of improv is to yes and it's like, it's the rule. There's other rules that go along with it, but it's like the thing. And especially in nowadays with like Dungeons and Dragons becoming a thing where we can watch, Brennan Lee Mulligan and Matt Mercer, and they take situations and they yes and with their players so that they can create an entire world. And that and Dungeons and Dragons live role-playing games have become the new form of improv, because you are doing that. You're making up scenes and worlds and stories on the fly. You're using mechanics, and the rule of yes anding or no but is still fundamental to that entire game playing system. And so for her to say, you know, no, you don't, Oprah. Like everything that she did, the one line she had in that joke was just everything was wrong. No, you don't. Completely shutting down the other person and calling them by the wrong name. It's I know. I'm a nerd. I'm dumb. It's probably not as funny as I'm making it out to be. But that's my favorite. I mean, there's so many good shows. There's so many good moments in sitcoms. Community is just a list of good moments. You know, the Glee episode, everything that happens in the Glee episode of Community is peak. From Mr. What's his name? Corey. I don't remember his name, but you know, you can call him Corey. You can call him whatever you want, as long as you don't call him late for dinner. As long as you're serving Brussels sprouts. That's one of the best lines ever. It's so awkward. And then when he gets all like scary and stuff, it's so good. If you haven't watched the Glee episode of Community, just stop what you're doing now and just go watch it. Just go watch it immediately. So I don't even know I don't even know what I was talking about. I got so caught up in talking about sitcoms and my favorite moment. I want you to share your favorite moment with me. So write it in the comments down below. Email me. Let me know what you think. twclawson.com. You know, just to kind of close this out, I really this episode isn't going to be much more than just a welcome. This is who I am. This is what the show is. Sometimes I talk about things like that I'm learning or that I want to work through as an author. And so you might get those. And I hope that you would appreciate those. If you're an author, if you're trying to get your name out there, then please hit me up. Let me know what you've got going on. I want to support you as best as I can. And let me know if my philosophies, if my lessons, if my thoughts help you at all. And so, you know, I want to say thank you so much to everybody that came out to the festival and said hi to me, stopped and talked to me, and let me just kind of word vomit all over you with my stories and my ideas. It means so much to me that you would come back and you would watch this video, and there's so many different ways that you can help support me. Just watching this video, honestly, is the thing that helps. Just watching it. You can share it with people if you like. You can go to my Instagram and follow that. You can go to my Patreon if you wanted to and support me in that way. I've got a whole video where I talk about that. And you can just follow along the journey and see how I change, and maybe for the better, hopefully for the better. We'll see if it's for the better. Where was I? I was being grateful. I was asking for more. I was being facetious and trying to sound nonchalant. I've got no other words for this defunctory situation. I am working on the next volume. I'm writing it right now. I'm hoping to be kind of ahead of the curve a little bit. And my editor has requested that I don't write all 3 stories at once and then start getting them edited. He wants to yell at me for every single one as I go along. So that's good. I need to work on that. And then I've got some big plans for for when the 4th volume comes out. It won't be the end of it won't be the end of the series. My hope is absolutely to continue the series on. It's just a matter of finding the time. And I've spent the last 2 years writing this thing and trying to get it good, try to become a better writer. And I think it's time, after I get it done, to spend some time working on promoting and learning how to market better. And I think that's really a big place where I need to focus. And that's kind of what this is. But there's some other ideas that I have that it just takes some time and effort that I haven't really been able to put in to, I don't know, I thought I heard something. creepy ass building. I'm not gonna lie, this place is building. You know what? I really wanted to thank. There was a couple that came down to the festival, and they came down to visit me because a friend of mine isn't doing super well as far as health goes, and I've been thinking about him. And his parents came down to my booth specifically to buy my books so that they could give it to him. And I hope that he will reach out and tell me what he thinks after he reads them. You know who you are. I've given enough information so that if you're watching this, you know who you are. And if you know who I'm talking about and you're not who I'm talking about, then you need to send it to who I'm talking about so that he sees that I'm talking about him. That's not confusing at all. I'm not. I think that was well put. I think that's adequate. Also, quick reminder, if you haven't been here before, this is new for you, but if you have been here before, you need to go check out Unbalanced Encounters. It's a Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast. And the reason why you need to check it out is because they are actually doing a short arc, a short bonus arc, I think is what we're going to call it. A bonus arc, 3 episodes on their Patreon, where I got to be a guest. And I played a very confident and roguish, dexterous type version of myself who hits on every woman he sees. He is basically me, though. He's just more confident and not attached, so he's willing to hit on women. Not that I want to go around. You know what? I hate that I've compared myself to him now, and I wish that I didn't. He's a completely different character. I got to play someone who's not like me at all. But here's the thing. Before you're just like, no, I don't need to go sign up for another Patreon or whatever. Here's the thing. First of all, it's the first episode is free to listen to on their feed. So if you go look up Unbalanced Encounters right now, you'll see it on their feed. It's the Blight at the Museum. And the first episode is free. And I guarantee you'll get some laughs. You'll get some spooks. You'll get inspired. If you're looking for a good show, go check it out. And their Patreon is set up so that you can do a 7-day free trial. And what's great about that is all 3 episodes are out on their Patreon, which means you could listen to all 3 episodes for free and then be like, yeah, I'm done with this Patreon thing. And then you can move on with your life. So if you haven't checked it out, 100% you should. And not just because I was on it, but because the people involved with that show are incredibly talented, wonderful people who have genuinely changed my life. And speaking of which, I'm very, 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 very excited to announce that I am partnering with them on a new show called Random Encounters. It's a wonderful show that we have actually been working towards for almost a full year at this point. When I helped out with a couple of fun videos and podcasts that they were doing with their cast, they eventually asked me to join to try and do a show where we interview people that play Dungeons and Dragons. And those words put in that order are just the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. So I said yes. And then I went, oh, I shouldn't have said yes because I don't have time. But then I went, I really want to do this, so I'll make the time for it. And we found a way to make time for it. And man, Emily and I have been working our butts off to try and make this work. And what we've come up with as far as a format, I think might genuinely be one of the best podcast formats I've ever experienced in my life. And now I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of it. Like, I'm saying that like as a consumer of podcasts, of video on YouTube, like that's what I watch is YouTube. As a consumer of these things, this format is just absolutely wonderful. We sit down with people who play Dungeons and Dragons in they do shows, they do fundraisers. We got a guy who's like, he's a teacher and he does Dungeons and Dragons through his teaching. Just absolutely wonderful people. And then we hang out and we talk to their characters. And what seals all of this in with that delicious juices of creativity and beauty is all of the work that Emily has put into producing animation for the podcasts. It will be live on the first week of August. Now, I don't know the specific day because it's I'm bad at knowing that information, but it will be out at the beginning of August. You can check out Unbalanced Encounters on YouTube, and I will try to make sure that my information here will also link over to their page, so that you guys can check out their work. I highly recommend it. If you like nerdy stuff, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, if you're trying to look for a new thing to get into, then check out their work and all of the stuff that I'm included in, because they're giving me the opportunity to make a lot of my dreams come true, and that's huge. I think once the show's out, I'll probably try to have Emily on this show so that we can talk about the whole process that we've gone through to try and make this thing happen. And that's the other thing. I'm hoping at some point we can start having guests on the show. I love talking to people, and I sound way cooler when I'm talking to people, especially people I like. So we'll see if we can get some guests on the show at some point so that you guys can be more entertained and not just bummed out by this guy. Am I right? This guy. Am I right? It's like, who's this guy? Am I right? Anyway. Thank you for coming and seeing me at the festival if you did, 2 for coming and watching this video if you did, and 3 for sharing this video if you did. I appreciate that. And now I'm going to thank my patrons the way that I do now, which is to do a freeze frame. I didn't actually freeze the frame. I was just holding it there. Anyway, cool. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.